So your life and your schedule feel completely out of control. You're tired of feeling that way and you're ready for a change. Like us, you're a fit mess. In this episode, we're going to talk with Kate T. Parker. She's the author of Strong is the New Pretty. It's actually been adapted. It was started as a photography book. It's been adapted into a journal for young girls. And we'll also tell you how our own journaling practice has helped us begin to clean up our mess. That's coming up on this edition of The Fit Mess.
This is A Fit Mess with Zach and Jeremy.
Welcome to the third episode of The Fit Mess. I'm Jeremy. That guy over there is Zach.
What's up, everyone?
Hi. And a lot to talk about in this show. We have, like I mentioned, we are going to talk with the author of Strong is the New Pretty. This is a campaign that I started seeing shirts and stickers for everywhere, and I thought, it's kind of a cool little slogan. I don't know where that came from. That's a neat thing. And then I stumbled across her amazing photography book, and it features young girls in lots of very empowering images. It's just beautiful, beautiful artwork. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. Get the book. It's amazing. But she has a great new journal that is for young girls, and my daughter's been using hers, and she loves it. And we'll talk a little bit about how that's becoming sort of a family connection tool for her and I. So stick around for that. That's coming up a little bit later. Thank you for all the ratings and reviews we've been getting through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else where you guys are getting the show. Thank you for doing all that. Please subscribe and please share it wherever you can with anyone that you think might benefit from some of the conversations we are having here on The Fit Mess. So like I said, this episode we want to talk a little bit about journaling, which I know sounds kind of weird because we live in the digital age, but we are physically writing in journals as a tool to battle some of our demons, to sort of clean up our mess. And actually, it's funny. This started, Zach, because I made fun of you. We went up to the mountains a few weeks ago with our families. We're hanging out, and you had your little journal with you. I was like, well, what's that? What's that ancient tool? What's that thing you got there? Ha, 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 with your pen and your paper, sucker. And
yeah, it didn't go over well. I thought you were going to be impressed with it, but it was quite the opposite.
I laughed out loud for a while.
I was ridiculed.
But which is funny because on my phone, I've got at least 3 different journal apps that I wouldn't say I use them, but they're there, and they're handy. But I don't use them because when I pick up my phone and I go to journal, there are 1,000 other things I can do with my phone that are way more fun than talking about my day or my feelings or whatever.
Oh, of course.
So
all of the applications on your phone, the way I heard it once is there are thousands of software developers all over the world vying for your attention. I've tried that before myself, and I pick up my phone to write something down, and I end up on Facebook or Instagram because there was some alert, and I completely forgot what I was going to write down.
Yeah. Or I'll go, hey, this is a good time. I've got time to myself. I'll sit here and I'll dig deep, find some feelings, write them out on this digital screen. Ooh, shiny thing.
Uh-huh.
No,
Squirrel.
it's not going to happen. So I saw that you were using a paper journal, and I started doing some research, and I thought maybe this is a thing. Maybe I should give this a chance. Read around, and it was funny. One of the things I read was that when people try to start a new project to work on their self-help or whatever, just shopping for the right tool can be the distraction that prevents you from actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
So I shopped, and I narrowed it down to like 10 different journals, and finally down to 5. And I was like, it took like 2 weeks. I was like, the last 2 weeks that I've been shopping on Amazon, I could have just bought any one of them and just gone, let's do this one this time, because I'll probably change it for the next one.
And you could have just texted me and asked me, because I've tried them all already.
That's true.
Just saying, you could have saved a lot of time.
Probably. But for me, the thing I was really looking for in a journal was something that focused on gratitude, because that's something I struggle with. And so the one I ended on is not a sponsor of any kind, but I ended up getting the Panda Planner because it's really simple. It's basically 3 daily bullet points of gratitude, things you're excited about, projects you're going to work on, a schedule, a task list, and then there's a little area for notes. It's like, this is perfect. I don't have to put a ton of time into it. I don't have to be thoughtful about what I'm feeling in the moment. I don't have to write a story. I can just sort of wake up and walk through briefly what I hope my day is going to be like, what I expect from my schedule. And then I sort of use it as an anchor throughout the day to sort of keep me on task when I've got a lot of things going on. The hard part is when I've got nothing going on and I just stare at that thing like, I don't know.
Right.
Anything can happen. I don't know.
Anything.
Yeah.
So how many times have you filled it all out and at the end of the day gone, what I wrote down in the morning is what happened?
I would say most of the time, half or more goes the way I planned.
Nice. That's actually, that's really good.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I keep my expectations low. There are things where, you know, I have a pretty built-in routine that I use right now where I know what time I'm going to go to the gym every day. I know what time my kid has to be at school. Like there's some certain things that are just sort of built in. And so I write them down like, oh, I'm going to accomplish this, but it's built in. It's going to happen automatically.
Yeah.
But I can sort of visualize my day around it and go, okay, well, what am I going to do before I go to the gym? What am I going to do right after I drop the kid off? Oh, tonight's a night where there's swim class, so I have to do this before that. So it helps in that way where I can be okay with these parts of the day are not going to be enough about me. And this has been the struggle for me this year is as I've taken on this task of bettering myself, of self-help, self-care, whatever you want to call it, I'm finding that the more time I spend working on myself, the more time I get irritated when what I'm doing isn't about me. Like life isn't enough about me when it's not about me at all.
It's amazing how when you choose to make time for yourself and you get used to it and someone else rains on that parade and you can't make time for yourself.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
For me, it's become a struggle at home more than anything because at work, again, things are sort of built in. There's a time for everything when it's supposed to happen. And when those times aren't happening, I can spend some time on myself professionally, personally, whatever, and do that. But when I'm home with 2 little kids and a wife and pets and a house and all the things, suddenly I'm a lot lower on the list of priorities.
Yes.
Because I have to take care of all those things that I love and adore and I'm thrilled to have.
Yes. And rightfully so.
Yes.
You come last.
Yeah, of course, I come last. So my journal has been a lot about, especially on the weekends, has been about, I guess, planning my emotional availability, which sounds weird, but a lot of the space in the journal is for projects. And I'm not the kind of guy that has build a birdhouse and fix the dishwasher and replace a light bulb.
Really?
Because I couldn't do any of those things if I had.
You really
paid
come
me.
off as a guy who could do all that stuff.
I seem really handy, don't I?
Yeah.
Nope, couldn't do it. So instead, I write things like, be present with my family, be patient with my kids, eat well, like really like kind of obvious, broad things.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a hard goal to reach. But in general, I find that when I start getting impatient, when I start finding out that, oh, this isn't enough about me and I'm getting frustrated, I mentally sort of refer back to, how did I start my day? What were my goals for today? Just to be patient with my kids and to be present and to just be here for them,
right.
Whatever that means. So that anchor sort of is helping me with bridging that divide between taking care of myself all the time and being there for them and sort of integrating some of the changes that I'm making in myself and sort of trying to insert that into my family life.
So I've tried a lot of paper journals, the gratitude journals, right?
Mm-hmm.
List 3 things that you're grateful for. And in the morning when I'm filling it out, 9 times out of 10, I would just write coffee 3 times.
That's not a bad one. Yeah,
just grateful.
That's
for
a go-to.
coffee.
Yeah.
How do you make that not repetitive? Are you grateful for different things every day, or is it the same things every day, and how does that help you get through your day?
I find, and it's funny, that usually is the last thing I can fill out because there's things it's that and the things I'm excited for because so much of my day is so routine. It's rare that there's like the other day was when it was Halloween, like I'm excited to spend time with my kids and my friends tonight when we all go trick or treating. Like there's easy ones like that, but just the daily like I'm excited to be done with work today and go home and watch TV or whatever. Like those are tough, and there are days where I will sit there and I will stare at it for 20 minutes and I can't figure it out, so I'll bring it to work. And I'll look for 5 minutes to go. Is there something I can genuinely feel? Because I don't want to phone it in. I want to feel the gratitude. That's the point, is to not just fake it. I want to find something that's not just, I'm grateful to have a loving family and a house. I am, but I don't want to just fill out the blanks. I want to actually feel the thing that I'm trying to process.
Right.
so that I'm benefiting from the practice.
So you actually fill it out when you first wake up?
Generally, yeah.
Okay. I generally fill mine out when I get to work. So the journal that I use that you ridiculed me about, it has a whole section in it on creating a morning ritual that you do every single morning. So I generally do my morning ritual, and then I get to work, and then I fill it out. The journal that I use now doesn't have anything about gratitude.
That's easier.
It is easier, but then I have to fill it with all the tasks that I have to do for the day.
But see, you're a task guy. You have a job that has a lot of tasks.
Yes, and sometimes.
Do you write them down every? Because for me, I have the same tasks every day, so I don't need to write them down. If I don't do them, then I'm going to get fired. Like I have like 5 things I basically have to do every day.
Right. So my day is completely different every day.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, some of it overlaps and it's similar, but for the most part, I've gone through a ton of journals. Right. I've never tried the Panda journal though. I'll have to give it a shot. But I used one called the Best Self, where it was, it gave you that area to plan your day out, but it was also, what are you grateful for? What I think it asked a question about, what were you grateful for yesterday as well, and things like that.
So I will counter that with, so mine, it's the morning, you fill it out in the morning, and then at night you do a recap. So it's actually, I mean, I could get really nerdy on this. There's month goals, there's week goals, there's daily goals, and you're supposed to sort of bookend it. Like you start the day with the way it's supposed to go, and at the end you review, where are the wins, what happened, what can I do better tomorrow. And that's sort of a meditative practice that I've picked up too, where, and as long as we're plugging products, Headspace has been a really valuable tool for me, where at the end of the day I'll do an evening meditation, and it sort of makes you walk back through your day and review your day so that you didn't just blindly go through it. You can look back and go, what can I take from today and make better tomorrow, or what mistakes maybe were there that I can correct. And it's weird because I didn't expect that. I expected to do it for 2 days and get bored and give up, but it's become something that I really kind of rely on.
Right. Have you gone a day without doing it?
There have been times I've had a couple of days of being depressed where I'll still do it, but in terms of, what am I excited about? I just write nothing, depressed today, not worth it, or whatever. I'll just, whatever I'm feeling about those things, gratitude, none. Nothing's worth living for, whatever. I'll just vent out whatever sort of angry response, just so that I still do it, so that I don't lose the habit of it.
So what keeps you coming back then?
That most days, it's a sense of self-accountability, and it's kind of an anchor for me that I can carry throughout the day and stay on task and stay focused, because I have a job where it's very easy to get distracted throughout the day. And so this way I go, these are the things that are important to me today. This is this is what I want from this day. Mm-hmm. And throughout the day, I can sort of refer to it when I'm getting distracted and go, no, is this getting me to my end goal, or is this the shiny object? And I can decide whether or not I want to be flexible, like option number 5 was for the day, or do I want to stay rigid and go, no, I don't want to do that right now. I've got time for that later. I got to stay on task.
One of the things I always struggled with these journals is my all or nothing mentality, and it was really frustrating for me to plan out my day and then only get 75% of my stuff done, and then feel like I failed because I missed 25%, when on a normal day, if I hadn't written everything down, I would have gotten 10% of it done.
Right.
And
so again, you're holding up the failure to the success.
Exactly.
And giving it more weight.
So it really, using a journal helped me once I realized this is a plan for my day that has to be flexible.
Yes.
And I might not make it. And whatever I wrote down today could very well be copied to the next day.
Yeah.
And into the next day, into the next week even. And like we said, when you're using a phone, shiny object syndrome.
Oh, that's all it is a shiny object.
I love my paper journal.
Yeah. I'm loving mine too, because I am sort of exploring spending less time in front of a screen. Mm-hmm. I generally don't watch a lot of TV as it is. There's 2 shows that I watch that are a half an hour each. And I find myself just blindly staring at my phone. And there's a lot of times now where instead I'll get that journal out and go, how was my day? What can I do tomorrow? What's on the calendar? Without going, oh, I should look on my iPhone calendar And oh wait, what's on Twitter? Oh wait, so it's just I'm just trying to resist the digital temptations as much as possible because they're so enticing.
It's terrible. I love my phone. I mean, I love it. I don't know, I've got a really, really bad habit. I upgrade to the latest phone whenever I can. I just love technology and phones. And it was a really sad day for me the day I realized I need to come home from work and put my phone down and leave it there.
Yeah.
Because
I still struggle with that.
It's so addicting.
Yeah.
Last night alone, I caught myself I was going to bed and I pulled my phone out just to plug it in for the night. Mm-hmm. Just to plug it in. But as I was putting it onto the nightstand, I saw some flash. And then I went down like a Facebook hole for about 15 minutes.
Oh, God.
It was ridiculous.
I do the same thing. And, a little behind the curtain a little bit. This is my second go around with plans for a long-term podcast. And I get really excited about it. I mean, I love the recording part and it's fun and the conversations and everything, but I also get a little bit geeky about the back end. Like, where can I publish it? How can we reach out? How can we stay involved in a conversation when we're not doing the show? And so I obsessively get on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and try and find things that I think are interesting or sort of monitor, oh, we got some new followers. That's great. And kind of read up on them and follow them back and see what things like about them. And it's so addictive. I mean, and that's the nature of social media is it totally sucks you in. But when you've got a project that you're also trying to push out there, it's hard not to go, oh, what can we do to participate in that conversation, to be a part of that, to get a little bit of light, to shine on this. So that's been really hard for me. It's one of the first things I look at every day is, did anyone respond to anything we said? Is there something we should be talking about? And it's awful because, we don't have a lot of followers. We're a new show. So the interactions are minimal because there's a small pool to pull from.
They are very small, but when we do see interactions, it's very exciting.
Oh, the dopamine hit is it's massive.
It gets me through for about 6 or 8 seconds, and then I need another one.
Yep. So keep them coming, people.
So I do want to talk a little bit. So since we're talking about journaling and just getting things out of the head, and you're since you made fun of me, it wasn't too long ago that you made fun of me about having a paper journal.
Does it still hurt?
It does a little bit, I forgot about it until you reminded me. But I want to hear your experience in, does it help you to get things out of your head and onto paper? I've read, all these things about, once we get something out of our mind and on the paper, we know that it's documented somewhere. Somehow in our brain it's documented somewhere. So our brain doesn't worry about it. Have you felt that in any way, shape, or form, or is this not helping you organize?
Yeah. One of the core changes that I've made this year is that my breakfast basically every day is bulletproof coffee. And I have noticed a massive increase in mental energy throughout the day. And that is just things that are just cluttering my head, and I've got to get them out.
Do you do the traditional bulletproof coffee where it's just butter and coconut oil?
Yeah.
Or MCT oil?
Yeah, butter, MCT oil, but I also throw in some turmeric and some pepper, sometimes a little bit of heavy whipping cream if I want to really fatten it up.
Spicy.
Yeah. But yeah, my brain just runs a million miles a minute. And today was an example where I have to physically go burn off the energy to even get to the part where I can sort out the thoughts and write them down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting because prior to that, I basically was sitting around waiting to die.
Apparently that was not working out very well.
That wasn't working out so well. So now...
So you failed at it.
Yeah. So now I'm doing much better. And that's been a big help for me also. But that's always been a tool that I've used through all my various attempts at journaling or blogging or whatever is, I would have my phone next to my bed and there would be something repeating in my head. And if I just wrote it down somewhere, digitally or otherwise, it would definitely, I could make it go away.
Yeah. So one of the issues that I have with journaling is when I sit down to actually journal, my mind goes blank.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've gone a few minutes. I had an idea that I wanted to write. Now I can't remember it. It's not in my mind. So I've actually turned to, instead of journaling, just like doing a brain dump instead, where I write down just anything that comes up. I mean, I have a whiteboard at home specifically for this that I, just empty my thoughts out onto every now and again. If anyone saw the whiteboard, the unfiltered whiteboard, I'd be a little embarrassed because, I just dump everything out. But once I've done that, I have a lot easier time journaling because I can actually look up at it and reference to all my thoughts and then write about that thought. It's really tough to find your own system to journal, but I think it's really helpful. You're getting it out of your brain.
And for me, like I mentioned, one of the struggles I've been having is sort of integrating my new and improved lifestyle where I'm taking better care of myself and all that, trying to integrate that back into family. And, because my family is still my family, they're not making the same drastic changes. My wife's trying to eat, keto light to some degree. But, the kids don't because they're kids. Whatever they'll eat, we'll give them. But one of the struggles I have is sort of putting myself last again. And, in a healthy way. I don't completely discard my own needs, but obviously they come first. So one of the things that's been really interesting is trying to incorporate journaling as a habit for my kids. Now, one is 3. So she basically colors while we're doing this. But the other one, I've sort of been walking through the questions that I ask myself every morning. I ask them at the breakfast table while we're sitting there. So I ask them about things they're grateful for, things they're excited about in their day, just to help them sort of think about what's coming up, what do I have to look forward to, what do I have going for me, things like that. Mm-hmm. But we just were introduced to the new journal from Kate Parker from Strong is the New Pretty. And it's fantastic because it's geared for young girls like my 7-year-old. There's lots of fun things in it, draw a picture of yourself as a superhero. What are the last 3 books you read? Why are they your favorite things? And so it's been really fun to sort of guide her through using that, but also be able to do it together and sort of set an example as a parent and go, this is something important to me and I'm benefiting from it. And if you also try it, maybe you'll find the same thing. So it's kind of a fun thing to do together to share that experience with her. And we got the chance to talk to Kate Parker about this new project and started by asking her why, after such a successful photography book, she decided to put together a journal.
So the ideas behind Strong is the New Pretty, the original book about confidence and girls finding and using their voice and figuring out their passion, I wanted to give girls a way to put those thoughts into action. And the journal does that with daily prompts and by encouraging girls to take time for themselves and away from social media and encouraging confidence and creativity. So I really wanted to take it just the next step.
Where did that come from, I guess? Where did those values come from, that strength and making sure that your girls have that strength? Is that something you grew up with, or did you sort of find that on your own?
No, definitely. I wanted to impart the same things that my parents imparted to me, that your strength or your self-worth doesn't come from what you look like. It comes from who you are and what you do and how you act. And I was lucky enough to have parents that encouraged me to be exactly as I was and wanted to do the same for my girls. And so thankful and lucky to have the opportunity to have a platform with these books to let other girls know the same thing.
As parents, Jeremy and I both have daughters, what could we do as parents to help our daughters be strong?
I think one of the things is definitely giving girls the space to be who they are and love them for who they are, not necessarily who you want them to be or what you wish for them. Allowing them to figure out and fail and knowing that they kind of have a safe place to land with, at their house and at their home with their parents is really the best thing that you can do, I think, for girls. Just be encouraging.
You touched on a little bit with the social media thing, the timing of your book and your message with Me Too and kind of the national conversations that have been going on. What do you hope your role is in that conversation as we try to move forward and sort of heal from what's been happening in our country lately?
Well, I think that there's so many conversations today about what is going on and what's acceptable. And I think the more we can encourage our girls to know their voice and know their worth, and the younger we do it, the better it is, because I feel like that's when girls are most confident. When they're young, they think they can do anything. And then they seem to lose that sense of I'm amazing or I can do anything as they get older. So helping them retain that and retain what their boundaries are, what they feel okay with, I think is is super important and something that we all can try to encourage.
What do you think contributes to that sort of transformation, that loss of that strength and confidence?
I think there's a lot of things. I think it's puberty. I think it is like you just become more self-aware and you become more aware of like what your friends think. And that's why I feel like if you have a passion, if you have something that you're really deeply involved in, and for me, it was soccer. I really got a lot of like, all my friends were from soccer, and all my self-worth kind of came from how I played on the soccer field, as opposed to like what boys thought of me or what girls were saying. So I think if you have something that is an outlet, something that makes you feel alive and makes you feel good about yourself, that really helps to keep that confidence that you had, as you were younger.
I know you're, or at least as I've read, your next book is focusing more on boys. Can you tell us about that project?
Oh, sure. So yeah, throughout like the process of touring and shooting Strong is the New Pretty, I kept getting these questions from boys. Like, where's my book? When are you going to shoot a book about boys? And I was like, I don't have boys. So I was like, you guys are fine. You do not need a book. Your voices. I was like super dismissive because I was like, you guys don't need this.
Right.
Like, your voices are heard loud and clear.
Right.
And then my publisher asked me if I would consider doing a book about boys. And I was like, I'll try. Basically ready to go back to them to just say, no, I'm gonna do Strong as New Pretty too. And then I shot a few boys, and just to basically like fulfill my obligation. And then immediately though, I was struck by how deep these boys' emotions were and how vulnerable they were willing to be. And then it made me realize that, so in 2018, the definition for what is acceptable for a girl to be is fairly narrow. But the definition for what is acceptable for a boy is even more narrow. So I was really like kind of struck by how blind I had been to it. And I really took it on as a mission. I was like, I have to shoot this project and I have to do this. And because if I don't see it, then lots of people are not seeing it. That book is called The Heart of a Boy, and it comes out in April. I'm really excited about it.
I bet that it's interesting because that's sort of one of the things that we're taking on this show too. Is we're trying to be, as hosts of a show, vulnerable about our experience and vulnerable about our failures and sharing that, because anytime that I think often when you look at any kind of a fitness website or a men's health sort of a thing, it's all about being strong and hitting the gym and doing all those sort of manly things. But you never hear, it's okay to completely fail. It's okay to not go to the gym one day and mentally heal and physically heal. So it's great that you're exploring that in that book. I think that'll be a really valuable tool for parents dealing with boys trying to figure out how to navigate this.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, we make it hard on ourselves. So anything we can do to sort of show that we're all the same and that we're all struggling, I think is really key.
So in doing these projects, has there been anything that really surprised you or really stood out that you didn't expect to learn from the work you've been doing?
Basically, like from actually completing all three of these books, the one thing that stood out to me after the fact was that the message for the boys and the message for the girls is exactly the same message. It's a message just for humans. Everybody just wants to be accepted for who they are. And the more we can do that, the kinder we can be to each other and the more open we can be, I feel like the better everybody can be. There's so much division and so much divisiveness and so much turmoil that if we just allow everyone to be their true selves, then I think everything would be a little bit happier.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much for your time and for your work. Like I said, I'm a big fan and really appreciate everything you're putting out in the world and you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care.
Thanks.
All right. Again, the journal is Strong is the New Pretty. And like I said, it's been a lot of fun using it with my daughter. And, it's really fun just having that experience and being able to sort of share something that I'm finding useful and hoping that she does as well.
Yeah. I just got the journal the other day, so I haven't had a chance to use it with my daughter yet. But I did flip through it, and it seems like it's going to be a fun experience to do. It took me a long time to figure out any kind of journaling or writing things down or just sorting through the things in my head. And I'm really looking forward to using it with my daughter because I don't want her to have to struggle for 40 years like I've had to, right? If we can instill these practices in our kids now and give them the tools to succeed, I'm all for it.
I was literally crying in my pediatrician's office the other day over that same anxiety, like having anxiety about my child's experience.
Yeah.
And I totally was like, lost it. And I was just like, I just don't want her to go through what I've gone through. So the struggle is real, man.
It is. And it's amazing. You know, I'm not going to, there's genetics. There's genetics at play.
Yes.
My daughter has my anxiety level.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it from my mom. Thanks, Mom. You know, I have passed it down to her, and I want to give my daughter the tools
Yep.
that she needs to succeed. And part of that, I mean, I can give her the tools, but part of it is me actually showing her how to do it and modeling using these tools.
Yeah, totally. We happen to have an extra copy of the journal. If you would like it, if you wouldn't mind, send us a screenshot of your review on whatever device you're using. So if it's Apple Podcast, post a review, send us a screenshot of that, either through, if you follow us on any of the social media channels, or email us, info@thefitmess.com. Send us that screenshot, and we will randomly select someone and send that book out to you to share with your kids, because it's a fun little practice. Speaking of practices, you threw down the gauntlet. We had a challenge.
Yes, we did. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Me too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you didn't hear on the last episode, Zach challenged me to really both of us to get back on our healthy eating plan, which is basically a low carb, keto-ish diet for the most part, and to make it all the way until Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And now we're just a few days shy. I'm confident that I will make it through the home stretch. No problem.
It's easy now. And I do have to, for all the people who know what keto is, and you heard the word keto-ish, we understand the difference between keto and not keto.
Yes. So any other challenges you want to take me on another event?
So I kind of want to build on this now.
All right.
The whole point of the show is small changes to make things better. On the last show, we talked about the fact that when I'm not eating good, I don't feel as good from a depression and anxiety standpoint. One of the other things that helps me is just regular exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise alone is not the answer for me. It's
Right.
part of the equation, but it gives me a couple more points on the scale. And my exercise has been pretty good, but it's been a little bit off. But I think I'm going to challenge you on this one on an exercise basis. So the challenge is at least 30 minutes of exercise where you get your heart rate up 5 days out of the 7 days a week.
I think I can do that.
Yeah?
Yeah. What's your normal? What's your how much you bench, bro? No, what's your normal routine? You get 5 days in a week normally?
I usually get 5 days in.
There was a while you were doing 8 times a week.
Yes. So at like my maximum, I was only working out, like doing a workout 5 days a week, but I was also putting it in with, like, I would do a 30-minute like intense workout, like, P90X or Insanity or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd go do 60 minutes of power vinyasa yoga.
Jesus Christ.
And, the yoga, the yoga was supposed to be the relaxing part, but then I'd go to a power vinyasa class where it's all about, the end result of a power vinyasa class, in my experience, is to build a lake on your yoga mat of sweat.
Okay, sure.
And I do it every time.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It is. It is. My mat gets really squeaky when it gets wet.
Oh,
so
God.
it's wonderful.
I was doing yoga today, and I'm on this new program that I'm using, and it was a lot of planks, and I think it was kind of like a Pilates yoga mix.
Yeah.
Kicked my ass. Like, this is not the yoga I signed up for. I like the stretching and the breathing and the calm, peaceful. I was just like, I hate you. Stop. This hurts. But, felt good when it was done.
But that's where the change happens.
Right, exactly. All right.
At least that's what we keep telling ourselves.
30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Challenge accepted.
What are you going to do? What are you thinking?
So I have basically a few routines that I do. My typical go-to is 20 minutes of yoga and then 10 minutes of an elliptical, treadmill, something like that. Or I will do like a round of weights for like 15 minutes and then do yoga for 20 minutes. That's my usual routine.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
So my usual is I usually get home from work. I don't like to work out in the morning. I don't know about you, but working out in the morning is not my thing. I get home from work and immediately my last remnants of me time, I go work out. Because after that, it's game over.
Yeah.
And I have to be with the family.
I like to use my lunch break, middle of the day.
Then you get the afternoon with the endorphin rush.
Mm-hmm. And usually by then I need to burn off all the activity from the bulletproof coffee that's been coursing through my veins all morning. So it works out pretty well.
Nice.
All right. So that's the routine. That's the challenge. Feel free to join along if you want to participate in it. It doesn't have to be anything that intense. It can be a walk. It can be running in place. I don't know. Whatever is physical activity for you. 5 days a week. See if you can do it for the next, what are we doing, month?
Yeah, let's do it for at least the next month. And if you want to, send some screenshots to our Facebook page, feel free.
Yeah, do that, or Instagram, whatever you use. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening. It's a lot of journal talk, but hopefully you get something out of it. And if you did, and you think someone else might as well, please share the episode, and ratings and reviews on whatever device you're using, or Facebook, or whatever would be great. And that's it for now. We will see you in a couple of weeks at thefitmess.com.
See you guys.
Bye.